Alrighty then, it's time for a Skarner game, and this one is using the ass laser build. Which one? It's not actually called the ass laser build, but it doesn't have a name, so I'm going to take the liberty of calling it that. Wish to. And it basically consists of maxing out your laser first. However, this isn't something very much new. It's just it doesn't have a name. People, since his rework came out, people have been maxing out his E because it has a whole different effect and different feel for Skarner. Maxing out your Q first or maxing out your E first are both viable builds on him. One makes him more of a fighter and makes him very risky to play because he's basically like a glass cannon mauling kind of dude. And maxing out your E makes you more utility based, but makes it so you have particularly less damage, like sustained damage, and more pseudo bursty damage. Either way, both builds work, but they're for different types of team compositions. In this case, I just wanted to win, and I wanted to pick someone I know could snowball hard, so I tried to take control of the game very early. I went with this build because I am quite fond of this build a bit more than the fighter one. I think the fighter one might snowball a lot harder because you just straight out slaughter everybody, but this one is just a little bit more secure, right? Anyways, my bottom lane teammates get into a fight, and I know Gragas is going to come to try to get some easy pickings, so I move to intercept him. You can see him in the mini-map coming, so as soon as he gets close, I turn to him, and I do my best to keep him from just getting to my teammates. I stun him, I use my smite and everything, and I didn't even know my teammates had exhaust. So this turns the tables on the enemy team. We kill Gragas, we kill Thresh, and then I tower dive the Lucian. So we pick ourselves 3 kills bottom lane, and this is huge for someone like Skarner, who is a very big snowballer. So all of a sudden, I'm insanely deadly. I already have my ultimate, and I can pull off some even deadlier ganks. So good times for me. However, a really silly situation happens right now. My teammate clears the ward from the bush, but my Bammy Cinder is burning, and it deals damage to the minions, and I'm kind of screwed. I was like, do they notice that I'm dealing damage to them, or are they not? They put down a ward, they take it out. We take it out, and it's unfortunate. However, my teammates get a little too close, and the Thresh is able to pick off the Callista, and she gets picked off. However, in a similar vein, the Thresh gets too aggro and gets too close and gets killed. I figure it's because Gragas is showing up, but I have so much damage, not because I'm out leveling him already, that I easily kill the Thresh, and then Gragas helps me kill the Lucian. So bottom lane is pretty much dead and buried. Anyways, runes and masteries. 12, 0, 18 masteries. Attack damage red, attack speed quints, armor yellow, 6 cooldown reduction blues, and the rest magic resistance, although those last 3 on the blues, you could do whatever you want with them. Take all the relevant masteries, of course. You can see which keystone I took by looking at the corner of my of the video. Anyways, the difference between utility Skarner, the ass laser Skarner, is that this one has more control in a team fight. You spam your E and you just kind of stun people. It makes you a pseudo peeler, or it makes you like a just someone who gets on someone and tries to blow them up because they're going to be forced to burn their CCs on you. However, thanks to your shield and how spammable it can be when you buy tanky CDR items, pseudo-tanky, pseudo-CDR ones, like Spirit Visage, Dead Man's Plate, Iceborne Gauntlet, it's going to make it so you can spam your abilities a lot more. Your W is going to pretty much keep you alive. Also, I love this. The Gragas got too close, pulled him in, and he pretty much got destroyed by the tower. Good day for me, because this just snowballs me even further. Anyhow, as I was saying, in the team fights that come, just notice what I try to do. I try to angle myself to so my laser at least bypasses a lot of people, and I just stun people along my way towards my real target. Now, the problem with Skarner still kind of affects this build in that he's super telegraphed. In team fights, they know what you want to do, and there's a lot of easy ways to stop you because you pretty much just go in straight lines and there's not much you can do. And in team fights, his ass laser is very hampered because a good front line is just going to absorb the damn thing. It's not going to accomplish anything. So playing as Skarner is always a risky business. However, you just kind of try to overpower your opponents. If you get an early lead a good early lead early, or you become super damn fat, then you can just bulldoze over the enemy team. Now, this game was kind of chaotic early on. a lot of good opportunities for me to get kills happened. My teammates needed help, so I couldn't just farm non-stop. However, Skarner is one of the better jungle farmers in the game, mostly because, as much as I hate to admit it, these little blue crystals are ridiculously strong. I could, if I wanted to, farm the entire game without ever going back a single time, and it would be totally plausible. Though, of course, you want to build or at least your first smite upgrade, right? Anyways, for whatever reason, Thresh and Gragas got too greedy trying to steal red and died for no damn reason. So once more, this is propelling me even further. The first item I'm buying is Iceborne Gauntlet, although I was kind of wanting to build Spirit Visage against this team because their biggest threats are Gragas and Lux, even though the Gnar is kind of gnarly too. I dive him, he has absolutely no chance of surviving, but I just figured in team fights, if we fought right now, my shield would protect me against someone like Gnar whose damage isn't, totally insane yet. So, I built Iceborne Gauntlet more just to help me kill things because, come on, I'm pretty big and right now and Sheen is just lovely on him. Anyways, I go against the Lux, go with all my power, but this is the problem with Skarner. It's just, he doesn't, this build I mean, he doesn't have as much absolute murdering power as the fighter build. You just kind of have this pseudo burst, hit someone with a laser, poke them a bit, and you just kind of hope they're squishy enough for you to kill rather quickly. It's pretty good though. Like I said, I like this one better than the fighter one. I just kind of like that kind of security. Anyways, that was a bad flash from me because I just tried to get him with the tip of my laser, just a tip. But I should have remembered the Skarner got a circumcision and he just can't reach it. We try to go in for Gragas, we overlap too much CC, which is unfortunate. Gnar shows up, and then we just try so hard and nothing happens. Gragas manages to save himself, Gnar manages to bounce on Gragas' fat ass and escape as well. So nothing happens, but everyone almost died as well. Anyhow, as far as viability goes, like I said, Skarner's still very telegraphed and he's very prone to just getting shut down early because he needs to build up his momentum and keep it. So for solo queue, it's kind of hard to recommend him all the time. In one case, he fits solo queue. You want to just dominate early and just snowball the living hell of the game. Both builds will work out for this matter. However, he's also bad in solo queue because if your teammates suck and they don't let you pick up momentum, then you just flat out lose. So it's just a very high risky champion. So in a way, I don't know if I can recommend him for newer players or for any players at all. It's just like what you'll see in here. This build particularly when it comes to full-on skill team fights, you start relying on your teammates a bit more to be able to deal the damage you're missing, for them to be able to respond to your maneuvers. And if they can't, the fights last a little bit longer. You start being outmaneuvered and you just can't do anything. I mean, you can survive a lot of punishment. Like, look here, I'm just taking a huge beating and I'm not going down real quickly. Hell, I could have got away from this if they kind of just gave up like they did right there. But otherwise than that, my contribution is just kind of being a repetitive stun bot, which is pretty good. But again, relying on your teammates is pretty risky in solo queue. So I'll say if you want to play him, it's not bad to, especially if you're a good Skarner player. But know that it's a very risky business. So I'll give him a pass. Anyhow, yeah. A lot of on the last Skarner video I uploaded, several people were upset that I went to the Q build, the fighter build, and that's because the fighter build is pretty much just prone. It's just pretty much pigeonholed into one build, straight out damage. You can't really go too tanky, otherwise you don't do anything. You just kind of wasted your levels. So maxing out your E gives you more build flexibility as well, which is pretty good right now with the whole Z0 Rod portal shenanigans, in which if you are fighting against a team comp that you can push down, you might as well rush that first. Anyways, as you can see, I just take a huge ass beating and I still don't die. They burned so much trying to do things to me and they didn't come out ahead on that. As a result of that, my teammates were able to re-engage and kill a few of them off. Gnar is going to show up from the side right now and he's going to try to kill a few of us. But again, the only ones who are low enough to die are super tanky, so the Callista and the Ziggs are able to chunk them down for quite a little bit. Mostly the Callista. The Ziggs just a little bit. My team composition, like I said earlier, isn't really that good. We're all kind of working against each other with our individual picks. So being able to pick them off and gain a lead this early, or at least a lead on the important characters, was a big deal. Anyways, both teams are rearing up to fight for Dragon, but my team is very low. So thankfully, the Gragas, I think, saved Callista's life by knocking her away from the Lux Laser. And unfortunately, we have to give up the Dragon, though. So I'm just kind of... I know the early game is a little chaotic, but I'm just kind of waiting for the team fight. One of the team fights that happens that I think is probably one of the best team fights I've ever had for a very silly reason. Anyhow, as I said, my build is going to consist of mostly tanky/utility build, tanky/utility items. You get yourself Iceborne Gauntlet, Spirit Vista, Zero Rod Portal, and that kind of stuff. Skarner is someone who's kind of like a delivery system for all these good effects, right? If you just went straight out tank, then you kind of don't do anything. He's very unimpressive, aside from his one stun is in this build, and as a fighter, he just kind of presses one button. So you kind of gotta give yourself more things to do, or more special effects with the other items. Anyways, as you can see, the enemy Lux is ridiculously dangerous, almost killing the Ziggs. But watch this team fight. It's just bad all around. Fiora goes in for some reason and then flashes out immediately. But watch the enemy team. I try so hard to do something, but I can't do anything in this fight. However, the enemy team blows so much crowd control, so much shit on me, on the Calista as well. Right now when I get in and trying to just beeline to the Lux, I don't technically do anything. But they're shooting the shit out of me. They're exhausting me. They're trying to stun me. They laser at me, although it was more to hit more people. And even the Thresh tries to hook me one last time. They burned so much shit and I didn't do anything. But technically, I did all things at the same as well. It's just kind of funny. My teammates were slaughtered Gragas for free because his team were focusing on the wrong person that needed to. And I just kind of find it funny. It's like Gragas is probably feeling super hopeless about the whole situation. And of course, since they burned everything, especially the damn exhaust, which I was super surprised about, they lost that fight very disgustingly. You don't do that against a champion like, well, any tank really. And with Skarner, as you can see, look at the cooldown on my shield. I can spam that shit pretty much non-stop. It may not be the best shield, but the fact that it's very spammable is a huge plus. Anyways, I am basically unkillable at this point. I'll throw myself into the fray, and if they burn their CC and crap against me again, that's totally fine. Thankfully, we catch the Lux and the Gragas here with Leona's ultimate. I flash forward, we kill the Lux rather easily, and I'm putting myself in the front to take the brunt of most of their damage and most of their CC. Fiora is a killing machine now. We've unleashed our full wrath on them, and it's pretty much going to be one of those slow crawls to hopefully our victory. The enemy team, like I said, their composition just seemed far better for team fights, but it doesn't seem they're working their best. The whole fact that they burned all their crowd control on me is the biggest example of this, but as you can see, I just won't die. I know a lot of other tanks can do this too, but Skarner is unlike other tanks, or at least untanky champions, in that I can maul people too if I really wanted to. So hooray for me. Anyways, Lux is coming down, and instead of doing Dragon, I just prepare to snare her as soon as she crosses the corner, and poor Lux, she just pretty much gets hand blasted here for free. I love doing that to Skarner. It's just like peekaboo, you die. Anyhow, Gragas comes in right now. Well, slowly. Thresh gets a little too ahead. Leona misses her ultimate entirely. We turn on the Thresh because Lucian is just too far away. And Gragas comes in, and he decides to repeat what happened at the very beginning of the game by using his ultimate to propel me to the Lucian and pretty much maul his face. I don't manage to kill him. I do get shot down, but I was so goddamn close. It would have been such a, like, just a super sad shit to happen. Of course, the enemy team is mad at their own Gragas. Ziggs dies. We don't get Dragon. Sadness for everybody. Calista returns and does get the Dragon, surely, and the Lux tries to steal it, but to no avail. I think she actually was too far to even hit it. Anyhow, again, as far as Skarner goes for solo queue, play him at your own risk. You can even see, I think in most of this game, I just kind of got lucky. The enemy team threw themselves at us, they fought fights poorly, and I was able to scale out of control. But because I was able to scale out of control, the enemy team can't really do jack dick about me. If they ignore me, I will catch someone and lock them down forever. Sort of like a super Zinzao. If they focus me, then my teammates will destroy them 2 ways to Sunday. Again, they gave me like a half the rotation of their abilities just right there, and it only took away like a fifth of my health. They really can't do anything, and at this point I could 1v1 several of their teammates. Of course, I'll get kited to hell and back, but it'll take quite an effort to do so, so it's kind of just a big-ass waste of resources. Now, we're waiting to push down bottom lane. I'm just waiting here with my teammates, basking in the light of my little crystal, the only remnants of Dominion, may it rest in peace. And we're basically having a little Mexican standoff here. I'm picking my teammates to just sort of wait till everyone's here, because if we fight individually, I'm pretty sure we will get, absolutely wrecked. The enemy team is taking a defensive position, and we're just kind of waiting for Fiora to return. I don't think she has... she didn't have teleport at this point, so we're just kind of hanging back. We tell her to push mid, and we're just going to play safely while she does so. And the enemy team is going to be forced to get down bottom lane, because again, it's either she takes the inhibitor and they protect this tower, and we'll eventually take it anyways, or they back off, leave this tower, and protect their inhibitor from the Fiora. They abandon it. Now they're being forced to defend their inner towers, and this is where Skarner is kind of at his deadliest, sort of at least. The enemy team in a poking situation, if they stay too long, they're just gonna get destroyed and then eventually dove. If anyone gets out of position, I can just grab them and drag them back to the deaths. Unfortunately for them, the Gragas once again propels me towards one of his teammates, and I managed to pick up the Lux. Unfortunately for me, she doesn't die, but I'm able to get off the consolation kill of Thresh. The enemy team tries their very best, but I'm just taking too much goddamn damage. They just can't do any reasonable damage to me. My shield is so damn spammable. I gotta say, like, again, I gave Skarner too much of a hard time in the last video I uploaded, but because I was playing this fighter one and I kept begrudgingly sticking to the fighter build. But now that I've started trying his ass laser build again, I've really quite enjoyed it. I might actually even play him a little bit more, just because the snowball potential is huge. I still will fully respect that risk, but look at this kind of shit. How big I am and how much I can chunk Lucian with just one rotation of my abilities. Anyhow, my teammates engage at top lane. I know Lucian's gonna attack from below, or at least try to. So I flash pull him, but as soon as Gragas gets close, I just kind of let go. Though I probably shouldn't have, because my teammates are just too fucking insanely strong right now, and they were diving anyways. So we catch Lucian, we catch Gragas, and it's pretty much a done deal. They decide to surrender after yelling at the Gragas, after yelling at us, saying that we got lucky, that we're, or whatever, and we win. So hooray for Skarner, and retrying is much better ass laser build. Hooray! This channel is supported by my sponsors, Crunchyroll and Loot Crate. Check out the description below for links to the websites. Signing up for any trials, including Crunchyroll's free anime trial, greatly supports my channel. Also remember to give the video a like to support the channel, and subscribe if you haven't yet.